The knock came at 2:47 on a Saturday afternoon. Angela Martinez remembered the time because she'd glanced at her watch, annoyed at the interruption. She was finally enjoying a quiet weekend after closing the biggest client deal of her career at Davidson Marketing Group. Her curls were wrapped in a silk scarf, yoga pants replacing her usual corporate armor, and a mystery novel lay open beside her cooling coffee. Nothing prepared her for what waited on the other side of that door. Marcus stood on her porch, but he wasn't alone. Beside him stood a woman Angela had never seen before, platinum blonde, early 20s, wearing a dress that emphasized her very pregnant belly. 6 months along, maybe more. The woman's lips curved into something that made Angela's stomach drop before her brain could process why. "Angela," Marcus said flatly, no warmth in his voice. "We need to talk. Can we come in?" Angela's hand froze on the doorknob. Her mind raced, cataloging details with the same analytical precision she used in boardrooms. Marcus looked different, comfortable, relaxed, like he'd shed a costume he'd been wearing for years. The woman touched her belly in an exaggerated gesture, her eyes scanning Angela with barely concealed satisfaction. "Who is this?" Angela managed, though part of her already knew, already understood, already felt her world tilting sideways. The blonde stepped forward. "I'm Jessica, Marcus's girlfriend." Well, his real girlfriend. Her hand rested protectively on her stomach. "The mother of his baby." The words hit like physical blows. 6 months pregnant. Angela counted backward. March. While she'd been planning their 10th anniversary dinner. While she'd been working overtime to qualify for the promotion that would mean more money for the house renovation Marcus kept mentioning. While she'd been the devoted wife building their future together. "What is this, Marcus?" Angela's voice came out steady despite the earthquake inside her chest. He had the decency to look uncomfortable, but only slightly. "This wasn't how I wanted to do this, but Jessica's right. We need to talk about dividing things up. The house, the accounts, everything. We're having a baby, Angela. We need our share to start our life together." "Our share?" Angela repeated slowly, each word careful. Jessica's smirk widened. "That's right. This house is half Marcus's. The savings are half his. We've already talked to a lawyer." She pulled a manila envelope from her designer purse, a brand Angela recognized because Marcus had told her it was too expensive when she'd admired it last Christmas. "These are the papers. We need you to sign them so we can move forward. We found a house we want to buy. Something bigger, better. Somewhere to raise our family properly. Our family." She said it like they were the legitimate couple. Like Angela was the obstacle to be removed. Angela took the envelope automatically, a marketing executive brain already working through the implications while her heart shattered. Marcus shifted his weight. "I'll come by next week for my things. We can do this easy or hard, Angela. But either way, I want what's mine." "What's mine?" The house she'd made the down payment on using her signing bonus. The savings account filled primarily with her performance bonuses while Marcus's salary went to now she understood supporting this secret life. "Get out," Angela said quietly. "You need to read those papers," Jessica insisted, her hand on her belly again. "We need an answer by Monday. Time is money, and we need to move on with our lives." I said, "Get out." Angela's voice rose. "Now." Marcus grabbed Jessica's elbow. "Let's go. She needs time to process." They walked down the porch steps, Jessica's heels clicking loudly. Marcus opened the passenger door for her with a gentleness Angela couldn't remember him showing her in recent years. She watched them drive away in the car she'd co-signed for because his credit wasn't good enough alone. The autumn afternoon was beautiful. Golden leaves falling, neighbors mowing lawns, children playing in the distance. Normal Saturday sounds while Angela's world imploded. She closed the door and slid down to the floor, the envelope clutched in her hands. But underneath the shock and devastation, something else stirred. Cold, clear anger. They'd come to her door with demands and smirks, expecting her to surrender what she'd built. They thought she was defeated. They had no idea who they were dealing with. Angela didn't sleep that night. Instead, she sat at her dining table with her laptop, a notepad, and every financial document she could find. The shock had burned away, replaced by focused determination. She'd spent 12 years building her career on market analysis, finding patterns others missed, identifying opportunities in complex data. It was time to use those skills for herself. By sunrise, she discovered Marcus was a thief. Their joint checking account showed a pattern she'd somehow missed during her 60-hour work weeks. Regular transfers out, always just under $1,000. Small enough not to trigger alerts, large enough to accumulate. Angela pulled up the full history and did the math. $43,000 gone, transferred systematically, over 9 months. Her hand shook as she documented every transaction, taking screenshots, making notes about dates and amounts. December through February showed the heaviest activity, exactly when Jessica must have gotten pregnant. When they must have been setting up their love nest. At 6 a.m. Angela called her best friend Lena. She answered on the second ring, voice groggy. "Angela, what's wrong?" "I need you," Angela said simply, and the emotion she'd been holding back cracked through. "Can you come over?" "Give me 15 minutes. Lena had been Angela's friend since business school. A corporate attorney with zero tolerance for nonsense and a mind like a steel trap. She took one look at Angela's face and pulled her into a hug that finally released the tears. "Tell me everything," Lena said. So Angela did. The door opening yesterday afternoon. Jessica's smirk. The pregnancy. The demands. The manila envelope with divorce papers inside. Lena's expression grew darker with each detail. "That snake," she hissed. "Both of them." "Show me the papers." Angela handed her the envelope. Lena read through everything with her attorney's eyes, making small sounds of disgust. "This is amateur legal work. His liar is either incompetent or Marcus lied about your assets. This list is missing at least half of what you actually have." "I know," Angela said. "And look at this." She showed Lena her laptop with all the transfers highlighted. Lena's eyes widened. "Angela, this is financial fraud. He had access to the joint account, but you were the primary earner, and he was systematically draining it without your knowledge for his affair. A judge will absolutely take issue with this. Can we prove it was for the affair? Show me phone records if you have access. Credit cards, anything." Angela pulled up their cell phone account online. They were on a family plan under her name, which meant she could see everything. Marcus's number showed hundreds of texts and calls to one unfamiliar number over the past year. She cross-referenced it with the contact information on Jessica's divorce papers. It was her number. "Got him," Lena muttered, taking screenshots. "What else?" Angela logged into their credit card accounts. Marcus had his own card linked to her account since his credit score was too low for approval alone. The charges told a story that made her sick. Expensive dinners at restaurants they'd never visited together. An $800 jewelry purchase in February. Angela had received nothing for their anniversary. Hotel rooms, even though they lived in the same city. Furniture deliveries to an address Angela didn't recognize. Baby store purchases starting in April. "He used your credit to fund his affair," Lena said, her voice tight with fury. "Angela, he's an idiot." "This is all evidence. Every single charge." "There's more," Angela said, pulling up another document. "I found lease papers in his desk drawer last night. He's been renting an apartment for 8 months. Guess who's on the lease with him?" Lena's smile wasn't kind. "He's done." Completely done. Angela, with this evidence, you're not just going to avoid giving him half. You're going to take him to the cleaners. I want more than that, Angela said quietly. I want to understand everything. How did I miss this? Because you trusted him. Because you were busy being successful while he was busy being a lying thief. This isn't on you, but it felt like it was. Angela analyzed market data for a living, advised companies on million-dollar campaigns. Yet she'd missed her own husband's betrayal happening right under her nose. I need to know everything, Angela said. Can you help me? I'm not a divorce lawyer, but I know the best one in the state. Let me make a call. While Lena stepped outside, Angela continued digging. She pulled up Marcus's social media accounts. They were friends on all platforms, but she realized she hadn't actually looked at his pages in months. Why would she? He was her husband. She trusted him. His profiles showed a different life. Check-ins at restaurants with Jessica tagged. Photos from last month at a beach resort Angela had never heard of. Comments from friends that suddenly made sickening sense. Great seeing you two together. Congrats on the good news. She's glowing. They'd been living a public life together while Angela was at work, believing her marriage was solid. His friends knew. His family probably knew. Everyone knew except her, the actual wife. She scrolled back and found the first photo of them together. 9 months ago at someone's backyard party. Marcus's arm around Jessica's waist, both of them laughing. The caption read, "Great afternoon with amazing people." Angela had probably seen this post when he'd made it, scrolled right past without registering the truth staring her in the face. Lena came back in, her expression triumphant. Catherine Powell will see you Monday morning at 10. She's the best divorce attorney in the state, and when I told her the basics, she cleared her schedule. She wants this case. I can't afford the best attorney in the state. You can't afford not to have her. Catherine works on contingency for cases like this. If she thinks she can win big, she'll take a percentage. And Angela, with this evidence, she's going to destroy him. Angela nodded, trying to let that reality sink in. What do I do until then? She asked. Document everything. Don't confront Marcus. Don't let him know you're investigating. Act like you're still in shock, still processing. Let him think he has the upper hand. That won't be hard, Angela admitted. I am still in shock. You're also angry. I can see it. Channel that anger into gathering evidence. Be methodical. You're brilliant at this kind of work. Treat it like a campaign analysis. She was right. Angela could do this. She'd spent 12 years building campaigns, analyzing consumer behavior, finding hidden patterns in market data. It was time to use those skills to protect herself. After Lena left, Angela made a comprehensive list. Marcus's work situation. Where was his salary really going? The apartment lease, full financial details. All credit card statements for the past 2 years. His bank accounts. Did he have accounts she didn't know about? Phone records going back to when the affair started. Social media evidence of their relationship. Who knew about the affair and when? As she worked through the list, a picture emerged even worse than she'd imagined. Marcus hadn't just betrayed her emotionally. He'd been systematically preparing to leave while positioning himself to take as much of her money as possible. But he'd made one critical mistake. He'd assumed Angela was weak. He'd assumed she wouldn't fight back. He'd assumed she'd just accept his version of reality and hand over half of everything she'd earned. He was about to learn how spectacularly wrong he was. Monday morning, Angela walked into Catherine Powell's downtown law office. The reception area screamed success, modern art, sleek furniture, and a receptionist who looked like she could run a corporation. Angela smoothed her navy suit, her professional armor back in place. Catherine Powell approached with an extended hand. She was in her 50s, with silver-streaked hair cut in a sharp style and a presence that commanded attention. "Miss Martinez, thank you for coming in. Let's talk in my office." The corner office had windows overlooking the city. Catherine gestured to a leather chair across from her massive desk. "Lena gave me the overview, but I want to hear everything from you. Start from the beginning." Angela told her story, the knock on the door, Jessica's smirk, the pregnancy, the demands, the envelope. Then she showed Catherine her evidence folder, now thick with printed statements and documentation. Catherine took notes, asked sharp questions, and occasionally made sounds of disgust that were oddly comforting. "Your husband is an idiot," she said finally. "Not just morally, though there's plenty of that, but legally, he's made every mistake a cheating spouse can make. He documented everything. He used your credit. He stole from joint accounts. He got his mistress pregnant while still married. And now he's making demands while having committed financial fraud. So I can win?" Angela asked, hating how desperate she sounded. "Honey, you're going to destroy him. With this evidence, he won't get a dime. In fact, we're going to get back what he stole plus damages. But let's talk strategy." For the next 90 minutes, Catherine outlined a plan. They wouldn't respond to Marcus's papers immediately. They'd let him think he had control. Meanwhile, Angela would secure any separate assets she had. They'd gather more evidence. They'd wait for Marcus to make more mistakes, which Catherine assured her he would. "Men like your husband get cocky," Catherine explained. "He thinks he's smarter than you. He thinks you're going to roll over. We let him keep thinking that while we build an airtight case." "What about Jessica?" "She was part of this too." Catherine's smile was cold. "She has no legal standing. She's not his wife. She has no claim to marital property. But her involvement helps us prove the affair, the timeline, everything. She actually did us a favor showing up at your door." Angela left Catherine's office feeling something she hadn't felt since Saturday Reel. Concrete hope that she wasn't powerless, that she could fight back and win. That afternoon, she made strategic calls. First, to her bank about any separate accounts she had. She'd been contributing to a retirement account her employer matched Marcus didn't know the full value. Second, to a financial advisor Catherine recommended. They discussed asset protection and investment strategies. Third, to her mother. "Baby," her mother's voice was warm. "Is everything okay?" "Mom, I need to tell you something. Marcus has been having an affair. His girlfriend is pregnant. They came to my house demanding money." The line went silent. Then, "I'm getting on a plane. I'll be there tomorrow." "Mom, you don't have to. My daughter needs me. I'll be there tomorrow." "And Angela, I never liked that man anyway. Always thought he wasn't good enough for you." Despite everything, Angela smiled. Mothers always know. That evening, Angela did something technically illegal, but Catherine had hinted at she accessed Marcus's email. His inbox was a treasure trove. Emails to Jessica filled with promises and plans. Emails to friends talking about finally being happy and starting fresh. Emails to real estate agents about buying a new house with his fiancée. Then Angela found something that made her blood run cold. An email thread between Marcus and someone named Rick from his office. They discussed moving money around and creative accounting, and nobody will notice. Marcus was stealing from his company too. Angela printed everything, added it to her evidence folder, and emailed copies to her private account. Then she processed this new information. Marcus wasn't just a cheater. He was a thief and possibly a criminal. If his company discovered what he was doing, he could face more than divorce. He could face criminal charges. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Have you made a decision about the papers? We need to move forward. Time is money. J. Jessica." She'd somehow gotten Angela's cell number. The audacity of this woman knew no bounds. Angela didn't respond. Catherine had said not to engage, not to communicate. Let them wonder. Let them worry. Let them think they were winning while she prepared her counterattack. Another text came through. Don't be difficult. Marcus deserves his fair share. Stop being selfish. Angela laughed out loud. She was being selfish? The woman who'd been sleeping with her husband, who'd gotten pregnant with his child, who'd come to her home demanding money, she was calling Angela. Selfish. Angela blocked the number and went back to her research. By midnight, she had enough evidence to bury Marcus in court. Financial theft from their accounts. Proof of the affair. Evidence of his workplace misconduct. Documentation of every lie he'd told. But she wasn't done yet. Catherine had said to let him make more mistakes, and Angela intended to follow that advice. Marcus thought he held all the power. He thought Angela was weak, broken, defeated. He had no idea she'd spent her entire career analyzing complex situations and developing winning strategies. He thought he was playing checkers. Angela was playing chess, and she was 3 moves from checkmate. The next 3 weeks passed in a strange duality. On the surface, Angela appeared to be the devastated wife barely holding together. She let Marcus's calls go to voicemail. She ignored Jessica's increasingly demanding texts from new numbers. She told colleagues at Davidson Marketing she was going through personal issues and needed privacy. Everyone assumed she was falling apart. Underneath, she was building a case that would dismantle Marcus's life, piece by piece. Her mother arrived and went into full protection mode, cooking meals, organizing the house, providing unconditional support. He was always weak, she said one evening. I told your father when you got engaged. I said that boy doesn't have your strength. You were going to outgrow him eventually. I loved him, Mom. I know you did, baby. But love isn't enough when the other person won't grow with you. He got intimidated by your success instead of being proud. That's on him, not you. Meanwhile, Catherine was working her magic. She'd hired a private investigator to follow Marcus and Jessica, documenting everything. She'd filed preliminary paperwork that would freeze their joint accounts once they properly served divorce papers. She'd contacted Marcus's employer anonymously, suggesting they audit his department's finances. The investigation at his work has started, Catherine told Angela in a conference call. I have a source there. They found irregularities. It's only a matter of time before they trace it back to Marcus. How long? Angela asked. 2 weeks, maybe 3. Be patient. The more pressure he's under, the more mistakes he'll make. Angela also met with Patricia, the financial advisor Catherine recommended. Patricia looked over Angela's entire financial picture and whistled. You've been smart with money. Your retirement accounts alone set you up well, but add your salary, your bonuses, your investments, you're in better shape than 90% of people your age. Marcus doesn't know about most of it, Angela admitted. Good. Let's keep it that way. I'm going to help you restructure everything to be absolutely bulletproof. He won't get a cent of what's truly yours. They spent hours going through every account, every investment, every asset. Patricia showed Angela how to document that her contributions to joint accounts vastly exceeded Marcus's, how to protect her retirement accounts, how to shield her future earnings. By the time they finished, Angela had a comprehensive financial protection plan. Marcus thought he was going to walk away with half of everything. He was going to walk away with nothing. That weekend, Weena came over with wine and support. They sat in Angela's backyard, enjoying the evening while Angela filled her in on everything. I still can't believe they showed up at your door like that, Weena said, shaking her head. The nerve. The absolute nerve. I think Jessica thought she was marking her territory, Angela replied. Like showing me she'd won. She's in for a rude awakening. Catherine Powell doesn't lose cases like this. I've also been thinking about what comes after, Angela admitted. After the divorce. I don't want to just survive this. I want to thrive. What do you mean? Angela pulled out her laptop and showed Lena the business plan she'd been working on. A consulting firm marketing strategies and brand rebuilding for women going through major life transitions. Divorce, career changes, personal reinvention. Angela, this is brilliant, Lena said, reading through the proposal. You could really help people. And you have the credentials, the experience, and now the personal experience. I have some money saved to start it. I could leave Davidson eventually, go out on my own, build something that's entirely mine. Do it, Lena said immediately. Life's too short not to take the leap. And honestly, the best revenge is success. Let Marcus and Jessica struggle while you build something amazing. On Monday, Marcus finally called Angela's office directly. Her assistant put him through before Angela could instruct otherwise. Angela, we need to talk, he said without preamble. You've been avoiding me. I have nothing to say to you, Marcus. Look, I know this is hard, but we're adults. We can handle this maturely. Just sign the papers. Make this easy on both of us. Angela almost laughed. Make this easy on you, he meant. Don't be like that. I'm not trying to hurt you more than necessary, but I have rights. I deserve my fair share of what we built together. What we built together? The words came out sharp. Marcus, I built this. My salary paid for most of the house. My bonuses filled our savings. My credit cards you used to wine and dine your girlfriend. Tell me exactly what you built. Silence. Is it fair that you stole from me? Angela continued. That you used my money to set up a life with another woman? That you got her pregnant while we were still married? I don't know what you're talking about. The $43,000 you transferred out of our joint account. Should we discuss that? Another silence, longer this time. I had expenses. Yes, an apartment for your mistress. Furniture for that apartment. Expensive dinners and hotels and jewelry that certainly weren't for me. I have records of everything, Marcus. Every transaction. Every lie. You don't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly. You're a thief and a liar. And you're not getting one penny from me. You want a divorce? Fine, but it'll be on my terms, not yours. Angela hung up before he could respond, her hands shaking with adrenaline. She'd broken Catherine's rule about not engaging, but it felt good. It felt powerful that her phone rang again immediately. She didn't answer. A text came through. You're making a mistake. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Angela forwarded the message to Catherine with a note. He's threatening me. Catherine's response came fast. Perfect. Keep every text, every email, every call. He's digging his own grave. That evening, the private investigator sent his weekly report. Marcus and Jessica had been house hunting, looking at properties way outside their budget. They'd been dining at expensive restaurants, shopping at high-end stores. They were spending money they didn't have, clearly expecting a windfall from the divorce settlement. The report also showed something interesting. Marcus and Jessica had been arguing. The investigator had caught them on camera outside a restaurant, clearly fighting. Jessica gesturing angrily, Marcus looking stressed and defensive. Trouble in paradise already. The report also documented Marcus's work situation. He was arriving late, leaving early, taking long lunch breaks. His colleagues were avoiding him. He'd been called into his boss's office multiple times in the past week. Everything was falling into place, exactly as Catherine predicted. Marcus was under pressure from multiple fronts. His job, his demanding pregnant girlfriend, the divorce he thought would be simple. And he was making mistakes left and right. Meanwhile, Angela was getting stronger every day. The shock and pain were transforming into determination. She was sleeping better, eating better, working out, taking care of herself in ways she hadn't in years. "You're starting to look like yourself again," her mother said one morning. "That light's coming back in your eyes." "I'm starting to see the future," Angela told her. "And Marcus isn't in it. Good. You deserve so much better." By the end of the month, Catherine called with news. Marcus's company is conducting a formal investigation. They found evidence of embezzlement. Nothing's official yet, but my source says he's going to be fired, possibly face criminal charges. How much did he steal from them? Looks like over $90,000 over 18 months. He was sophisticated about it, but not sophisticated enough. They traced it back to him. Angela processed this information. Marcus was about to lose his job and possibly his freedom. "What does this mean for the divorce?" she asked. "It means he's going to have much bigger problems than dividing assets with you. It means when we go to court, he'll look like exactly what he is, a criminal and a cheater. No judge will award him anything." The perfect moment to strike was coming soon. And when it arrived, Marcus was going to learn a lesson he'd never forget. 3 weeks later, on a Wednesday morning, everything exploded at Marcus's workplace. Angela heard about it first from Catherine's source inside the company. Then from the news when the story went public that afternoon. Marcus had been arrested at his desk for embezzlement and fraud. The company's investigation had uncovered over $120,000 in stolen funds, all carefully traced back to Marcus's schemes. He'd been creating false vendor accounts, approving fake invoices, and pocketing the money over an 18-month period. Angela watched the news coverage from her office at Davidson Marketing. The anchor described the arrest of a local marketing professional for financial crimes. They didn't name Marcus initially, but anyone who knew him would recognize the details. Her phone exploded with texts. Colleagues who'd heard rumors about her separation, putting pieces together. Friends reaching out with concern. Her mother calling to make sure she was okay. But the call she was waiting for came from Catherine. "Did you see the news?" "I saw it." Perfect timing. Marcus's lawyer is going to be overwhelmed with the criminal case. He won't have resources to fight us on the divorce. We're filing our papers today. Tomorrow morning at the latest, Marcus will be served with the real divorce petition, the one that outlines everything he did wrong and demands full recovery of stolen marital funds. How bad is the criminal case? Angela asked, surprised by how calm she felt. Bad. Federal charges because he used wire transfers. He's looking at 5 to 8 years if convicted, maybe less with a plea deal. But Angela, this is excellent for you. Any judge looking at our divorce case will see Marcus as a criminal who stole from everyone, including you. After they hung up, Angela sat in her office trying to process how she felt. She should have felt vindicated, triumphant. Marcus was getting exactly what he deserved. Instead, she felt empty. This was the man she'd married, the man she built a life with. Watching him destroy himself was less satisfying than she'd imagined, but she also felt free. This chapter was closing permanently. There was no going back from this. No possibility of reconciliation, not that she'd wanted one. Just a clean break and a fresh start. Her boss Gregory knocked on her office door. "Angela, got a minute?" She gestured him in, expecting questions about Marcus, about how this affected her position. Instead, Gregory closed the door and sat down. "I want to talk to you about something. The creative director position just opened up. Edwards is retiring next month. The job is yours if you want it." Angela blinked in surprise. "Really? You're the best marketing strategist on the team. You've been doing half of Edwards' work anyway. 25% raise, your own office, a team to manage. Interested?" "Yes," Angela said without hesitation. "Absolutely yes." "Good. I'll have HR draw up the paperwork. Congratulations, Angela. And for what it's worth, whatever's happening in your personal life, I'm sorry. But you've handled it with incredible professionalism. That doesn't go unnoticed. After he left, Angela sat in a cubicle that would soon be an office and laughed. Really laughed, for the first time in weeks. Marcus was being arrested and losing everything. She was getting promoted and building her future. That evening, her mother made her favorite dinner, homemade enchiladas with all the sides. They sat together at the table, just the two of them. And for the first time, Angela felt truly peaceful about everything. "You're handling this better than I expected," her mom said. "I think I'm just relieved," Angela admitted. "It's over. Really over. There's no way back from this." The next morning, Marcus was served with divorce papers at the county jail, where he was being held pending bail. According to Catherine, the serving officer reported that Marcus had completely broken down upon reading the petition that detailed every single one of his offenses and demanded full recovery of stolen funds plus damages. He's asking for a meeting. Catherine told Angela. His public defender wants to discuss settlement options. Absolutely not. We're going to court. You sure? A settlement might be faster. Unsure. I want everything on the record. I want a judge to see exactly what he did. I want it public. All right. Then we go to trial. Though I'm guessing once Marcus and his lawyer see our complete evidence, they'll be begging for settlement anyway. That afternoon, Angela's phone rang from an unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. Angela. Jessica's voice was shrill with panic. "Angela, I need to talk to you. I have nothing to say to you. Please, just listen. I didn't know. I didn't know he was stealing from his company or from you. He told me you guys had money, that everything was fine. I didn't know. What do you want, Jessica? I'm scared. I'm 7 months pregnant and Marcus is in jail. His lawyer says he could go to prison for years. I can't raise a baby alone. I need help." The audacity was breathtaking. She was calling Angela, the wife she'd helped betray, asking for help with the baby that resulted from her affair. "Let me be very clear," Angela said slowly. "Your problems are not my problems. You chose to have an affair with a married man. You chose to get pregnant. You chose to show up at my door demanding money with that smirk on your face. You made your choices. Now live with the consequences. But the baby is not my responsibility. You want help? Call your family. Call his family. Call social services. But do not call me again." Angela hung up and blocked the number. Then she called Catherine and told her about the call. "Good response," Catherine said approvingly. "Do not engage with her. She has no claim on you or your assets. Let her figure it out." Over the next week, the extent of Marcus's crimes became public knowledge. The local news covered the story extensively. His mugshot was on the evening news. The scandal rippled through their social circles. Angela received an outpouring of support from friends she hadn't talked to in years. The common theme was the same. You deserve so much better. She was beginning to believe it. The court date was set for 6 weeks out. Marcus made bail. His parents had mortgaged their house, but the conditions were strict. He couldn't leave the state. He had to check in regularly. Meanwhile, Angela was making moves of her own. She'd started seriously developing her business plan for the consulting firm. She registered the LLC, designed a website, began reaching out to her network. The response was overwhelming. So many women wanted what she was offering: marketing expertise, combined with personal experience rebuilding after betrayal. "You're going to be successful," Patricia told her during one planning session. "This is needed, and you have the credibility to really help people." Angela had also started looking at real estate, a beautiful condo in a new downtown development. A fresh start in a space that was entirely hers. Her mother watched all of this with pride. "Look at you," she said one evening. "2 months ago, you were devastated. Now you're building something remarkable." "I'm building my life," Angela corrected. "On my terms. The way I should have been doing all along." "What about dating? Relationships?" Angela shook her head. "Not even thinking about that right now. I need to focus on me, on my business, on my future. Maybe someday, but not now." The court date approached. Catherine prepared her for what to expect. Questions, presentation of evidence, witness testimony if needed. Angela reviewed their case files, memorized the timeline, prepared herself to face Marcus in court. "You're going to do great," Catherine assured her. "Just tell the truth. The evidence speaks for itself." The day before the hearing, Angela visited her grandmother's grave for the first time in years. She brought flowers and sat beside the headstone. "Grandma Rosa," she said aloud, "I wish you could see me now. I'm finally becoming the woman you always believed I could be. Strong, independent, unafraid." A breeze rustled the leaves overhead, and Angela smiled. Her grandmother had been a force of nature, practical, strong, fiercely independent. She'd survived her own share of hardships and betrayals. She'd understand what Angela was doing and why tomorrow would be the first step toward official freedom. And Angela was ready. The morning of the divorce, hearing dawned clear and bright. Angela dressed in a charcoal suit that projected confidence and professionalism. Her mother hugged her tight before she left. "You've got this," she whispered. "I'm so proud of you." Catherine met her outside the courthouse. "Ready?" "As ready as I'll ever be. Remember, stay calm. Answer questions directly. Don't let Marcus or his lawyer rattle you. We have all the evidence we need." They walked into the courthouse together, through security, up to the 3rd floor where family court proceedings were held. The hallway was filled with other couples in various stages of marital dissolution. Some looked sad, some angry, some just exhausted. Marcus was already there with his public defender, a young man who looked overwhelmed. Marcus had lost weight. His suit hung loosely, and his eyes had dark circles. He looked up when Angela entered, and something flickered across his face. Regret? Anger? She couldn't tell, and no longer cared, thought the judge. A woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor reviewed the case file. "This is the divorce proceeding for Martinez versus Martinez. I've reviewed the initial petitions from both sides. This is quite a complicated case." "Your Honor," Catherine stood. "If I may, while both parties initially filed for divorce, my client's petition outlined significant misconduct by Mr. Martinez that should inform the court's decision on asset division. Marcus's lawyer stood as well. Your Honor, my client disputes many of these allegations and believes they're being used to unfairly influence proceedings." "I'll hear evidence from both sides," the judge said. "Let's begin." For the next 3 hours, Catherine methodically presented their case. Bank statements showing Marcus's systematic theft from joint accounts. Credit card bills for purchases benefiting his mistress. Phone records documenting the affair. Lease agreements for the apartment he'd rented. Emails discussing his plans to leave Angela and take half of everything. Then came the evidence of his work misconduct. Documents from his employer's investigation. Proof of embezzlement. The criminal charges pending against him. Marcus's lawyer tried to object, argue, deflect. But the evidence was overwhelming. Numbers didn't lie. Documentation didn't lie. The truth was laid out in black and white. Undeniable and damning. Your Honor, Catherine concluded, Mr. Martinez systematically betrayed his wife, stole from their joint accounts, used her credit for his affair, and committed crimes that have resulted in criminal charges. Miss Martinez is not seeking revenge. She's seeking justice and the return of what was stolen from her. Then Marcus's side presented their case. His lawyer tried to paint a picture of a marriage that had simply fallen apart. Two people growing in different directions. He tried to minimize the affair, suggesting it happened because Angela was always working, neglecting the marriage. Angela sat perfectly still, refusing to react. Catherine had warned her this would happen. Blame the victim. Make it somehow her fault. But when Marcus took the stand, things fell apart quickly. Mr. Martinez, Catherine began her cross-examination. You claimed the marriage fell apart mutually, yet you never mentioned to your wife that you were unhappy? I tried to tell her. She wouldn't listen. Interesting. In your emails to Miss Jessica, you wrote, and I quote, Angela has no idea. She's so focused on work, she doesn't notice anything. Does that sound like someone you tried to communicate with? Marcus shifted uncomfortably. That's taken out of context, is it? Let's talk about context. You systematically transferred $43,000 from your joint accounts. Over 9 months' money that primarily came from your wife's salary and bonuses. Did you tell her about these transfers? We had joint access to the accounts. That's not what I asked. Did you tell her you were taking this money? Silence. Mr. Martinez answered the question. No, he admitted quietly. And what did you do with this $43,000? I had expenses. Expenses like renting an apartment for your mistress? Buying furniture for that apartment? Taking Miss Jessica on vacations while telling your wife you couldn't afford to celebrate your anniversary? Those expenses? Marcus's lawyer objected, but the damage was done. The judge's expression had shifted from neutral to disapproving. Catherine continued, methodically pulling apart every excuse, every justification. By the time she finished, Marcus looked defeated, slumped in the witness chair. Then came Angela's turn to take the stand. Miss Martinez, Catherine began gently, can you describe your financial situation before your marriage? Angela took a breath. I worked hard through college, graduated with honors. I got a good job at Davidson Marketing, worked my way up to creative director. I was always careful with money, saving for the future. And during your marriage, I continued advancing in my career. I received bonuses, promotions, raises. I contributed the majority of our household income. Marcus's salary was lower, and we agreed I'd handle the financial planning since it was my expertise. Did you trust your husband with access to your accounts? Yes, we were married. I trusted him completely. When did you discover the affair? 2 months ago. His mistress came to my door with him. She was pregnant. They demanded I give them half of our assets so they could start their life together. She heard a small gasp from somewhere in the courtroom. The judge's eyebrows raised slightly. How did that make you feel? Betrayed, devastated, but also angry. I'd worked so hard for what we had, and he wanted to take half to give to the woman he'd been cheating with. It felt like being robbed twice. Did you know about the money he'd been taking from your accounts? No. I discovered it afterward when I started investigating. I found almost $50,000 missing, all used to support his affair. Marcus's lawyer tried to shake Angela's testimony on cross-examination, suggesting she'd been controlling with money or neglectful of the marriage. But Angela stayed calm, answered honestly, let the evidence speak for itself. When both sides had presented their cases, the judge took a recess. An hour later, they were called back. I've reviewed everything presented today, the judge began. This is one of the more clear-cut cases I've seen. Mr. Martinez, your actions constitute not just marital infidelity, but financial fraud against your spouse. You systematically stole from joint accounts, used her credit for your affair, and committed crimes that resulted in criminal charges. Marcus stood frozen as the judge continued. Miss Martinez is not only entitled to keep her separate property, but is also entitled to full recovery of all funds. stolen from joint accounts. Furthermore, given Mr. Martinez's criminal conduct, I'm awarding Miss Martinez her full legal fees and damages. Catherine squeezed Angela's hand under the table. Mr. Martinez, you will receive nothing from this divorce. No share of the house, no portion of retirement accounts, no claim on any assets. Furthermore, you owe Miss Martinez $43,000 in restitution for stolen funds, plus an additional $20,000 in damages and legal fees. This divorce is granted, effective immediately. The gavel came down. Just like that, her marriage was over. Angela sat perfectly still, processing that it was actually over. Really over. Congratulations, Catherine whispered. You won everything. They left the courtroom quickly. Outside, weak sunshine was breaking through morning clouds. What happens now? Angela asked. Now you start your new life. The money he owes you will likely come through a payment plan after his criminal sentence. But Angela, you're free. Legally, financially, completely free. Angela took a deep breath of fresh air. Free. It felt strange and wonderful and terrifying all at once. That evening, Lena came over with champagne. To freedom, she toasted. To new beginnings, Angela countered. They drank and talked about the future, about Angela's business plans, about the condo she was buying, about everything except Marcus and the past decade. How do you feel? Lena asked eventually. Honestly? Relieved. It's really over. I don't have to think about him anymore. I can just move forward. Any regrets? Angela thought about that. I regret the time I wasted, but I don't regret the lessons I learned. I know myself better now. I know what I won't tolerate, what I deserve, what I want from life. That knowledge is valuable. Later that night, alone in her house, Angela sat in the living room where it had all begun 2 months ago. The knock at the door. Marcus and Jessica on the porch. That greedy smirk. They thought they were coming to take what was hers. Instead, they triggered a chain of events that exposed all of Marcus's crimes, ended his career, and freed her to build something better. In a weird way. She was grateful to Jessica for showing up that day. If she hadn't, Angela might have discovered the affair eventually, but maybe not the theft, maybe not the embezzlement. She might have gotten a mediocre settlement and lived with regrets. Instead, she'd fought back. She'd won. And she was about to build a life better than anything she'd had before. The next chapter was about to begin. And this time, Angela was writing it herself. 6 months after the divorce, Angela stood in her new downtown condo. Boxes finally unpacked, furniture arranged exactly how she wanted it. Floor-to-ceiling windows flooded every room with light. Everything was clean, modern, fresh, the opposite of the house she'd shared with Marcus. This space was entirely hers. Martinez Creative Consulting had officially launched 3 months earlier. Angela had left Davidson Marketing despite the creative director promotion, choosing instead to build something of her own. Her specialty, helping women rebuild their personal brands after major life transitions, divorce, career changes, personal reinvention. The response had been overwhelming. Word spread through professional networks and personal referrals. Within 2 months, Angela had 8 clients. Within 3, she had a waiting list. She'd hired an assistant and rented a small but professional office space. Every client had a story that echoed parts of hers. Women who'd lost themselves in relationships. Partners who'd undermined their confidence. People who trusted and been betrayed. Angela helped them reclaim their narratives, rebuild their professional identities, and present themselves to the world with renewed strength. You found your calling, Patricia told her one afternoon over coffee. I can see it in how you talk about the work. You're passionate about helping these women. I never wanted this expertise, Angela admitted. But since I have it, I might as well use it to help others avoid my pain. She'd also made good on her real estate plans. The condo downtown had become her sanctuary. She'd bought a small duplex as an investment property, one unit she rented out, the rental income supplementing her business startup costs. Her mother had finally returned home. Confident Angela was thriving. "I'm so proud of you, baby," she'd said before leaving. "You took something terrible and turned it into something beautiful." Angela had started traveling 2 weekend trips to the coast, a week in Mexico, plans for Europe next spring. Each trip was a gift to herself, a celebration of freedom and independence. But not everything was about work and solo adventures. She'd built a community weekly dinners with Lena and other friends, a book club she'd joined, volunteer work teaching marketing skills at a women's shelter. One evening, Angela was at a networking event when she saw someone from Marcus's old company across the room. Rick, the man who'd been mentioned in the embezzlement investigation. He'd been questioned but not charged. He noticed Angela and hesitated, probably debating whether to approach. Angela made the decision for him, walking over with a professional smile. "Rick, right? We met at a few company events." He looked uncomfortable. "Angela, I heard about everything. I'm sorry for what you went through." "Thank you." Water under the bridge now. For what it's worth, a lot of us had no idea about Marcus's personal situation. The embezzlement shocked everyone. We thought we knew him. "Me too," Angela said honestly. "But we only know what people choose to show us." They chatted briefly about her new business, his career, mutual connections. It was civil, even pleasant. The past truly was the past. That same week, Angela received an unexpected call from Marcus's mother. "Angela, dear," Mrs. Rodriguez's voice was strained. "I hope I'm not overstepping. I just wanted to apologize for what Marcus did to you. We raised him better than that. We're so ashamed." "Mrs. Rodriguez, you don't need to apologize for your son's choices. I know, but I want you to know we never supported what he did. Losing our retirement savings for his legal fees, watching him throw away his marriage, his career, his integrity, it's been devastating. But you didn't deserve any of it. You were always too good for him." "I'm sorry you've been hurt by this too," Angela said genuinely. "I hope you're well. I hope you're happy." "I am," Angela told her. "I really am." After they hung up, Angela reflected on that conversation. Marcus's parents were good people who'd raised a son who made terrible choices. They didn't deserve to lose their retirement security. But that wasn't Angela's responsibility. She couldn't save everyone from Marcus's consequences. A month later, Angela was featured in a local business magazine. Woman turns personal tragedy into thriving consulting practice. Read the headline. The article detailed her journey from discovering her husband's betrayal to starting her firm. She'd been hesitant about sharing her story so publicly, but Catherine had convinced her. Your story will help other women. It shows them they can survive and thrive. She was right. After the article published, Angela's client list exploded. Women reached out saying her story gave them hope, gave them courage to leave bad situations, gave them confidence to rebuild. Angela hired another employee, a brand strategist, to help handle the growing workload. Martinez Creative Consulting was becoming more than she'd initially dreamed. One Saturday morning, Angela received a letter forwarded from her old address. The return address was the federal prison where Marcus was serving his sentence. She stared at it for a long moment before deciding to open it. The letter was an apology. Marcus wrote about his time in prison, how it had given him perspective on his choices. He acknowledged everything he'd done wrong. He said he'd heard about her business success and was genuinely happy for her. But he also asked for nothing. No help with parole. No requests for forgiveness letters. No manipulation, just, "I'm writing to say I'm sorry. You deserve so much better than how I treated you. I hope you found happiness. You've clearly found success. which doesn't surprise me at all. You were always the strong one, the capable one. I was lucky to have you in my life, even though I threw it away. I wish you all the best. I truly do." Angela read the letter twice. It seemed genuine. No manipulation, no angles, just acknowledgement and regret. She wouldn't respond, there was no need to. But she also didn't feel the anger she might have expected. Just nothing. Marcus was part of her past. A closed chapter that had led to better things. She filed the letter away and went back to work on her business plan for the next quarter. That evening, Angela hosted a dinner party at her condo. 6 women, all strong and successful in different fields. They ate good food, drank wine, laughed until their faces hurt. "Look at us," Lena said, raising her glass. "All of us have survived something: divorce, job loss, family drama, health scares. And we're all thriving anyway." "To resilience," someone toasted. "To community," another added. "To building the lives we deserve," Angela finished. They clinked glasses. And Angela felt overwhelmingly grateful for this moment, for these friendships, for this life she'd built from the ashes of her broken marriage. She'd learned something profound through this experience. Forgiveness wasn't about reconciliation or letting someone back into your life. It was about releasing the hold that pain had on you, about choosing peace over anger. She'd forgiven Marcus, not for his sake, but for hers. Not because he deserved it, but because she deserved to be free from bitterness. The best revenge wasn't making him suffer. It was building something so successful, so fulfilling, so meaningful that his betrayal became the catalyst for her greatest transformation. And that was the greatest victory of all. 1 year after that fateful knock on her door, Angela stood on stage at a downtown convention center. 500 women filled the audience, attending the first annual Women in Business Empowerment Conference. Angela had been invited as the keynote speaker. She looked out at the sea of faces, women of all ages, backgrounds, professions, and thought about how far she'd come. From that devastated woman sitting on her floor with divorce papers to this moment of public recognition and purpose. "Thank you for having me here today," Angela began. "I want to share a story with you. Not because it's unique, unfortunately. Many of you probably have similar stories, but because it taught me something essential about resilience, about value, and about the power we all have to rebuild." She told her story. The betrayal, the theft, the pregnant mistress at her door with that greedy smirk, the fight to protect what was hers, and then the rebuilding, the business, the community, the life she'd created. "I didn't sugarcoat the pain," Angela said. "Those first weeks were devastating. I questioned everything about myself. But here's what I learned. You are not defined by what was done to you. You are defined by what you do next." The audience was silent, hanging on every word. Every woman in this room has the power to take control of her life, to build security, success, and independence. It won't be easy. It will require courage, determination, and probably some tears. But it is absolutely possible. She talked about the importance of financial literacy, of maintaining your own identity within relationships, of building community with other women. She talked about turning pain into purpose. "The woman who showed up at my door thought she was taking something from me," Angela said. "But she actually gave me a gift, the push I needed to become who I was always meant to be. Strong, independent, unafraid to fight for what I deserve." The standing ovation lasted several minutes. Women approached her afterward with tears in their eyes, sharing their own stories, thanking her for giving them hope. That night, Angela video called her mother to tell her about the speech. "I'm so proud of you, baby," her mother said, her own eyes wet. "You took the worst thing that ever happened to you and turned it into something that's helping thousands of women." "I learned from the best," Angela told her. "You showed me how to be strong, how to stand up for myself, how to never let anyone diminish me." Martinez Creative Consulting now had offices in 2 cities and employed 12 people. Angela had expanded beyond individual consulting to offer workshops, online courses, and a podcast called Rebuild: Stories of Resilience. The business was thriving beyond her initial projections. Her investment portfolio had grown steadily. The rental properties provided passive income. Her retirement accounts were healthy. She'd created financial security that no one could take from her, but the professional success, while gratifying, wasn't the most important change. The personal transformation was deeper. Angela had learned to trust her own judgment again, to recognize red flags, to value herself enough to walk away from anything that didn't serve her. She developed boundaries she would never compromise again. She'd also learned the difference between being alone and being lonely. She was single and happy, building her business, traveling, spending time with friends and family, living life on her terms. Would she date again someday? Maybe, but she was in no rush. She'd learned that being whole and complete on your own was essential before building a life with someone else. One afternoon, Angela was leaving her office when she saw Marcus across the street. He'd been released from prison 2 months earlier after serving his sentence. She'd heard through mutual acquaintances that he was working at a warehouse, living with his parents, still dealing with probation. He saw her and froze. For a moment, they just stared at each other across the distance. So much history, so much pain, all condensed into that moment of recognition. Angela could have ignored him, walked away. Instead, she nodded once, a simple acknowledgement, and continued to her car. She didn't feel anger, didn't feel satisfaction at his obvious struggles. She felt nothing. He was part of her past, a closed chapter that had led to better things. That evening, Angela sat in her beautiful condo, looking out at the city lights. She thought about the woman she'd been a year ago, devastated, questioning everything, wondering if she'd survive. She'd not only survived, she'd thrived. She'd built a business that mattered, created wealth that would last, developed genuine community, found purpose in helping others avoid her pain. Marcus and Jessica had shown up at her door with greedy smirks, expecting to take what was hers. Instead, they'd given her the greatest gift possible, the push to become who she was always meant to be. Angela pulled out her journal and wrote, "To anyone reading this who's going through betrayal or heartbreak, your story isn't over. This painful chapter is just the beginning of your transformation. Protect yourself. Fight for what's yours. Build community. And most importantly, never let anyone else define your worth. You are stronger than you know. You are capable of more than you imagine. And your best life isn't behind you. It's ahead of you, waiting to be built. The best revenge isn't hurting those who hurt you. It's building something so remarkable that their betrayal becomes the footnote in your success story. You've got this. I promise you do." Angela closed the journal and smiled. She'd started this journey devastated and defeated. She was ending it victorious and fulfilled, not because she'd destroyed Marcus, but because she'd discovered herself. That was the real victory. That was the moral of the story. When someone tries to take from you your money, your dignity, your peace, don't just fight to keep what you have. Fight to build something even better. Turn your pain into purpose, your struggle into strength, your betrayal into breakthrough. That's not just surviving. That's true transformation, and that's how you win. The indie moral. When betrayal comes to your door, don't let it destroy you. Let it remake you. True victory isn't found in revenge, but in the courage to rebuild yourself stronger, wiser, and more purposeful than before. Your worth is not determined by those who failed to see it, but by what you choose to build after they're gone. The greatest transformation often begins at our lowest moment, and the life you deserve starts the moment you decide to fight for it.